Oh, you know what time it is? It's time to do that Superman ranking. You know, every time we get a new movie in a franchise, what do? We have to reassess the entire franchise. Where does it fit in? Where does it fit in? Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to show you where the newest James Gunn Superman fits in to the overall franchise of Superman. I just did this recently with the new Jurassic World Rebirth film, so I thought it would be fun to kind of go back and just kind of reevaluate every time it's important in life to reevaluate things because it allows you to kind of look back and go, oh yeah, this definitely is better than that, or I choose that, or hey, maybe this needs work, or evaluation is good. So it's good to go back and reevaluate. Word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is evaluation, reevaluation. So with that said, we're going to go through the Superman live action movies. I'm going to kind of rank them. Now, a couple things before we go in. One, I'm not going to be doing all of these weird Superman movies. There's people out there doing rankings and they're adding Steel and the old Supergirl movie from decades ago, and they're adding Justice League and Zack Snyder. No, I'm not doing all that. These are just Superman movies. The only movie that is a crossover that is being ranked is Batman v Superman because one, Superman is in the title. Two, it was supposed to be a Superman Man of Steel sequel. So it was a sequel that ended up turning into a team-up movie or a versus movie, rather. So other than that, every one of these movies, there's 8 of them in total. We're talking about the 4 Christopher Reeves movie, Rebirth, or not Rebirth, but Superman Returns, and then, of course, Man of Steel, BVS, and then James Gunn's Superman. Those are the films that we're going to be ranking. Also, I want to point out that this is not a ranking of the best Superman because I don't like using that. I don't like using that as a title or anything because the word best is very subjective. Everybody has their own taste. So what I think is better than you think is better than me. So it gets messy. So this is my ranking of my favorite Superman films. So this is how I would rank them as my favorite. So which ones I would go back and rewatch, which ones means the most to me as a longtime Superman fan. So again, it's going to be favorite, not best. So let's just keep that in mind. So with that said, let's get into the ranking. Let's start with number 8, which is Superman 3. Gonna be honest with you guys, number 8 and number 7, you can swap them out. It doesn't mean anything to me. I think Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, I think they're both equally bad. Superman 3, I remember as a kid, this is the least viewed Superman movie I've seen because I just did not like the movie at all. I think I've only seen this movie maybe twice as a kid, and it just did not resonate with me. It didn't feel like Superman. So it was just one of those movies. It was like the Supergirl live action film from back in the day. It doesn't feel like it's part of that franchise. So to me, Superman 3 is dead last. Coming in at number 7 is Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, which is funny enough because I really enjoyed this movie as a kid. Going back and watching it now, this movie ain't it. I always thought it was cool as a kid to have someone who was like the opposite end of Superman that had Superman's powers. And the one scene I always loved about this movie, even though I don't like the movie, was when Nuclear Man, his name is Nuclear Man, right? Like he scratches Superman's neck and Superman loses his power. And to me, that was cool because it was like, oh man, Superman can be beaten. Like without kryptonite, Superman can be beaten, and I just remember that being really cool. But as a kid, as like a 5-year-old, it was pretty cool. It was cool as a 6-year-old, but as an adult, you're like, oh man, what were they thinking? So yeah, Superman: The Quest for Peace comes in at number 7. Like I said, you can interchange 7 and 8 if you want to. To me, they're equally as bad, and they should just tie the worst film because they're just equally bad on their own merits alone. Coming in at number 6, probably going to get some slack for this one. And that is Superman the movie, the original Richard Donner movie with Christopher Reeves. I like this movie as a kid. rewatching it a few years ago with my buddy Adam. We went to a re-release of the movie, and it just didn't hold up as well as I imagined when I was a kid. The pacing is very slow. I understand like this was really the first live action superhero film on big screen, or one of, and I understand, you know, they're trying to balance certain things in the movie. It didn't age well at all. We did a double feature. It was this and Batman 89, and Batman 89, although it aged not as good either, it was a better entertaining film than Superman the movie. Christopher Reeves knocks it out of the park. I was never a fan of Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, but he's funny in some moments. There's a big cheese factor. John Williams' score 100% stands out in this. Superman the movie comes in at number 6. That's probably going to make a lot of people kind of like roll their eyes a little bit, like, what? But yeah, to me, it's the number 6. Coming in at number 5, Superman Returns. I didn't hate this movie. I was just disappointed with this movie. You know, when you were a kid and you did something bad and your parents are like, I'm not mad at you, I'm disappointed at you. Like, sometimes that's worse. I'd rather you just be mad at me. I'd rather you just like hate me than just be disappointed. And that's the way I felt with Superman Returns. I thought this movie had a lot of really good things. I like the fact that it picked up after Superman 2. I like the fact that it was a continuation of the Richard Donner movies. It was a love letter to the Richard Donner movies. I thought Brandon Routh did a really good job. I'm probably going to get some heat for this, but I thought Kevin Spacey did a fantastic job. I thought Kevin Spacey is probably the second best live action movie Lex, not like overall, because Michael Rosenbaum has that number 1 status, but I'm talking about just the movies. I'm talking about like Jesse Eisenberg, Nicholas Hoult, Kevin Spacey, stuff like that. I'm talking about that. Kevin Spacey was okay. He did much better than Gene Hackman, and I'm just talking about that aspect of it. But this movie had a lot going. The problem is, it was kind of boring. It didn't really do anything. Like, he beat up a mountain at the end, and he was a horrible father, and all this stuff. And to me, I thought Superman Returns was a great character piece, but not necessarily a good Superman movie. Sometimes you need to have that balance in order to make a good superhero film. Bryan Singer, I don't know, he wanted to do a love letter to Richard Donner. He did. It's not the worst Superman movie, just a disappointing Superman movie. Coming in at number 4 is Batman v Superman. So you can throw in the ultimate cut, the theatrical cut, doesn't matter. If it has another cut, I'm just calling out this movie. You can add it into this. BVS is one of those movies that has problems with the theatrical cut, but the ultimate cut was much better. I still think the movie is a convoluted mess. I do really enjoy this movie. I actually go back and watch this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to go back and watch, because I do really enjoy a lot of it, and a lot of it does have to do with Ben Affleck's portrayal as Batman. But yeah, just the movie itself has some issues, but I like the continuation of Man of Steel and how they address some of the things that I had a problem with in Man of Steel. The problem is the movie is very convoluted. Like, they tried to make this elaborate plan to try to get the two to fight, and you really didn't need to do that. Just, hey, Superman destroyed Metropolis, Batman don't like that crap, go fight. But then you have like Lex like framing people over in Africa and shooting reporters and kidnapping moms and taking pictures and blowing up wheelchair people. It's very, very convoluted, and you can easily shave like 30 minutes of convoluted plot points out of this movie, and it would be a much tighter movie. So BVS, I enjoyed it, but it has its problems. It comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, Man of Steel. Man of Steel was a movie that's very controversial. A lot of people has their number 1 Superman movie. For me, not so much. Everybody knows the first time I saw this movie in theaters, I had a lot of problems with it. Over the years, as I watched and rewatched this movie, and I watched this movie so many times, I definitely grew an appreciation for this movie. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I love Michael Shannon as Zod. I love a lot. I was never a big fan of Amy Adams as Lois, but everybody else, like even Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent, I really, really liked. Some of the choices that Zack Snyder chose to do with the Kent family had me really like, what's going on? But now, looking back in retrospective, looking back at all the Superman movies that I'm ranking, including James Gunn's Superman movie, I think it even though I had issues with those flaws, I'm glad it exists, because just like comic books, each comic book, like all of our favorite superhero characters, whether it be Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, these characters had multiple different writers and artists over the years. Each artist and writer comes in with their own interpretation of the character. Zack Snyder came in right after the Dark Knight trilogy and wanted to do a more down, gritty version of Superman. And really, when you look at Jonathan Kent, even though I don't like some of the choices that he's made, when Jonathan's like, yeah, you should let those kids drown to save your identity. Don't come save me and expose yourself with a tornado, even though he could have done that and not expose himself. I feel like the message was, we're a family. We don't want you to get taken from us. And I could see in a real world scenario where a family be like, look, you can't do this. The government will take you and they will experiment on you and they're going to take you from us. So I can definitely see Zack Snyder and David Goyer's real world influences. Like if this would exist in real life, how families would react and how the family would react to trying to hide Clark's identity to the world. So a lot of, like, again, a movie I was disappointed in. Each time I watch it, I enjoy it more and more. And now looking back, now that we have a new Superman movie and we finally have a different variety of Superman movies, whether it's Christopher Reeves, Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill, David Cornsweet, I believe there's a Superman film there for everybody. And we can now go back and look at these other Superman films and enjoy them for what they are. So Man of Steel, I really enjoy the film, and some of the problems that I had early on years ago are starting to diminish, because now I know that I have a different version of Superman that I can always go back and rewatch. And this is just Zack Snyder and David Goyer's take on it. But a lot of people's number one, but for me, it comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is James Gunn's Superman. Love this film. Saw it twice. Plan on seeing it a third time in the next day or two. Really enjoyed this movie. This movie gave me everything I've been looking for a Superman film for the past 3 decades or more. Like I've been a Superman fan since I was about 4 or 5 years old. I had like the cape, and my mom used to tie it into my shirt. I used to run around the house. I am a massive fan of Superman, and James Gunn gave me the Superman film that I wish I would have got with Henry Cavill. They went a different take with it. That's okay. Now, finally, years later, I get the version that I truly love. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, saw it twice already. Each time I seen it, I just walked out with a big, big smile. I absolutely enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the fact they embrace the campiness of the comic books and also incorporate the action and the heart and the hope that Superman is, the beacon of light that Superman is, and the fact that they broke down the humanity of this character and not focused on just the alien Kryptonian part of him. Superman is a phenomenal film, and it sits at number 2 currently, but can change at any given time. And then finally, that comes to our number 1, which for me is Superman 2. Now, you can throw in the Richard Donner cut, you can throw in the theatrical cut. A lot of people are like, it's a Frankenstein of a movie. True, but it's the movie that I watched the most. Like I love this movie. As a kid, I remember like just going around going like kneel before Zod, and just, it's completely campy, completely cheesy if you try to watch it now. But so much of this movie I loved it as a kid. Going from like the whole bomb in the elevator scene at the beginning, I believe it was on the Eiffel Tower with Lois, to the love story and Lois trying to find out that Clark is Superman, and then the scene where she finds out, like, it's really powerful. And the fact that this all-powerful being, Superman, is willing to give away his powers to pursue love with Lois because he's so deeply in love with her that he doesn't need, like, he doesn't want his powers. He wants to be with her, and he sacrifices all of that, but then realizes that he can't be selfish, that the world needs him, that 3 Kryptonians, one Zod, General Zod, who was perfectly set up in the first Richard Donner film, has escaped the Phantom Zone, and he's seeking revenge on the son of Jor-El, and he wants Kal-El to join him and kneel before him. It's so powerful. It's so rich in comic lore. It was so unique at the time. It was the most comic book film that we have gotten at that time that it was released. And yeah, some of the special effects don't work today at all. It's really cheesy at times, and it's kind of hard to watch if you look at it with a modern eye. But if you put yourself in that time frame, man, I just remember like the music, and then at the end where Superman like reverses the whole process on Zod, and even Luthor, like, it's like, oh, he changed him from there, but we are all good out here. Like, it was so great. It was so great. It was one of my favorite superhero film, not just Superman movies, but favorite superhero films of all time. I love that movie. It has a special place in my heart. That's why I said this is my ranking of my favorite Superman movies, not the best Superman movies. So anyway, everybody, that's my thoughts on the ranking of Superman. That's how I line them up. Now, this could shuffle and change at any given time, but that's just my personal ranking. I want to know what you guys think. Please do me a favor, smash that like and subscribe button. Leave your rankings in the comment box below. Stay safe and look up. Later, everyone.